English listening. Topic 1. Food and cooking.
Okay, everyone, could you all pay attention now? Tomorrow, we're going to make a popular Caribbean dish, chicken and rice. Recipes vary from country to country, but for the moment, I'm going to give you the list of ingredients for the basic recipe and leave you to add the flavours and spices to your own taste. Right, are you ready to write this down? Okay, first of all, you need a chicken that weighs about 2 kilos. Then, for 4 people, you'll need 750 grams of uncooked rice. Okay, for the sauce, you want half a kilo of onions. And tomatoes, you'll need 450 grams of tomatoes. And what else? Oh yes, and green peppers. You want 1/4 kilo of green peppers. And finally, 50 millilitres of cooking oil. Have you all got that? Good. See you tomorrow then. Don't forget to bring your favourite spices.
Hi, and welcome to Campus Cooking, our daily TV programme for students who want a bit of variety in their meals. Are you bored with cereal for breakfast? Well, today we're going to tell you how to make pancakes. They're cheap and quick and very easy to make. You only need flour, milk, sugar, salt, oil, and an egg. The full recipe's on the university website. Just follow the link. So, here we go. Before you start, it's important to have the exact quantities, otherwise your pancakes won't cook properly. So please, first, make sure you weigh everything carefully. Everyone ready? Okay. Start by putting the flour, salt, and sugar into a large bowl. Next, you whisk the egg, milk, and oil in another bowl. Then, slowly add the liquid ingredients to the flour mixture, mixing well until it has a smooth, thick consistency. Make sure you stir all the time. Okay, now we're ready to cook our pancakes. We start by heating the frying pan and greasing it lightly with a little butter. When the butter's melted, we pour a large spoonful of the pancake mixture into the pan and cook it until the edges are brown. At this point, flip the pancake over and cook for a minute or so longer. Finally, put the pancake on a plate and cover it up to keep it warm while you make the next one. When all your pancakes are ready, you can serve them up with syrup or sugar and lemon, or even fruit. Delicious. Happy eating!
Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to make apple and blackberry crumble, so I hope you've all bought your ingredients. Ready? Now, let's get straight on with cooking. First, you peel the apples and cut them into slices. Okay? Don't forget to take the middle out of the apple. Now, put the sliced apples in a pan and cook them with some of the sugar. In about 10 minutes, they should be nice and soft. Right? Now, mix the blackberries and apple together. Make sure that you have about half and half. Put them into the bottom of a baking dish. That's fine. Now, the next thing to do is rub the flour and butter together with your fingers until it's in tiny pieces, like breadcrumbs. Then add the sugar. When it's ready, put the crumble mixture on top of the fruit and bake it all in the oven for 30 minutes.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the university. I hope you're settling in and beginning to find your way around. I know a lot of students find it hard to adapt to the food, so I thought I'd tell you about a couple of popular English meals that you might hear about. Well, actually, you might have heard of the first one already. It's really popular. It's fish and chips. Fish and chips are fried in deep fat, so it's actually very greasy and not at all healthy. But it's still very popular, especially on a Friday night. That's when a lot of people get their fish and chips from the fish and chip shop and take them home to eat. Another traditional meal, which is definitely healthier, is Sunday lunch. In England, Sunday lunch is usually some kind of roast meat with vegetables. Traditionally, families have their Sunday lunch at home, but these days, quite a lot of families have Sunday lunch in a restaurant.
Good afternoon. Many people in the Western world eat the wrong food, and they eat far too much of it. So, the topic of my lecture today is healthy eating. I'll divide my talk into 3 parts. Firstly, I'm going to define what I mean by healthy eating. After that, I'll go on to talk about why people don't eat properly. And then I'll finish my lecture with some ideas for improving the situation. Right. So, what do I mean by healthy eating? Well, some people might think it means eating a lot of meat. Of course, vegetarians wouldn't agree with this. They think eating meat is very unhealthy. Other people think that eating a lot of cabbage is good for you, or a lot of salad. Well, naturally, cabbage, salad and meat can all be part of healthy eating. But for me, healthy eating means 2 things. One is eating a balanced diet, and the other is eating the right amount of food. In my opinion, a balanced diet means eating a variety of foods, including meat, vegetables, fruit, cereals, and dairy foods. Obviously, the amount of food we should eat is more difficult to decide. It depends a lot on how active we are. Now, on to my next point. Why do so many people eat badly? Well, let's look first at having a balanced diet. To have a balanced diet, you have to plan your meals in advance and then buy the right food. And then take time to cook it properly. But these days, people are so busy working that they don't have time to go shopping. So they end up buying fast food at the last minute. Another reason people don't eat well nowadays is that it's actually cheaper to buy food already prepared in a packet. So, people who haven't got much money will buy packet food rather than cook something fresh. And a final reason why people don't eat healthily is that they don't know how to. In my opinion, schools don't do nearly enough to educate their pupils in healthy eating habits. And now to my 3rd and last point. What can we do to solve the problem? Well, I think it can be solved by 3 main groups: families, schools, and the government. To start with, parents should make sure their children have a healthy diet. Secondly, a lot of schools have self-service machines where their pupils can buy soft drinks, crisps, sweets, and chocolates. I think schools should change what they sell in these machines. Another thing schools can do is make sure that the food they serve in their canteens is fresh and well balanced. And to finish, I'll briefly mention 2 of the measures I think the government should take to encourage healthy eating. One is to limit advertising unhealthy food, and the other is to spend more money on educating the public about the benefits of a healthy diet. In my next lecture, I'll go into more detail about
Topic 2. Work.
My name's Alice, and I work on a farm in the southeast of England. Mostly we grow fruit, but we also keep chickens, ducks, and dairy cows. So we have to work outside quite a lot, even in the winter, when it's cold and dark. That's the worst part of the job, really. You know, having to go out in the rain and snow to feed the animals. But the summer's totally different. I really enjoy being outdoors, helping the fruit pickers and loading the trucks. We deliver most of our fruit to supermarkets, but we also supply local shops with our milk, eggs and cheese. In fact, we produce so much cheese and fruit that we even sell them directly to the public in our farm shop.
I'm Wei Long, but my American friends call me Will. I'm a businessman in California. Before I came to the United States, I studied at a university in China. I graduated in information technology. But when I was young, even before I went to university, I worked in the family business. So my ambition has always been to earn a living through trade. After I graduated, I worked for my father for a few years to get some experience, and then I started my own small company. First, I set up an office in China, and then I opened another office in California. We sell computer parts from China because I know a lot of people in the computer industry there. I don't have any salesmen, but I have a receptionist to look after the office while I'm out on sales trips. I like being my own boss. I enjoy being able to make all the decisions myself. I mean, I sell most of my goods to large corporations, and I think I'd find it very difficult to work in a big company.
My name's Khalida. I'm a doctor in a busy hospital in London. My job is quite stressful because I work in the accident and emergency unit. Our hospital is the only one in the area with an A&E, so all the urgent cases come to us. Mostly we see people who have been in car crashes or had an accident at home. When people arrive at the unit, I have to see them first. I examine them to find out what's wrong and make sure we give them the right treatment. When we're sure the patients aren't in any serious danger, the nurses put all the information in their personal records and find them a bed if they're staying in hospital, or arrange for them to go home if they don't need to stay.
Hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me to give a talk in this series of employment lectures. I'm here this evening to tell you about my job. I'm going to tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and what I hope to do in the future. Okay, well, I'm a police officer. I've been in the police for just over 5 years, and part of my job is to give talks to students about police work. People often ask why I joined the police, so maybe I'll start there. I've always been interested in law and order, so I went to study law at university. But when I got there, I realised that I was more interested in the practical side of law than the theory. So I applied to work with the police force in my spare time. Then, as soon as I graduated, I was accepted for training. As you know, our job is to protect the public from criminals and defend the law. So obviously, the police force has to work every day of the week, day and night. This means we're often at work when everyone else is relaxing with friends and family, and we can't always be around for special occasions like birthdays and New Year's Eve. On top of that, we have a lot of extra work at weekends, especially when there's a football match and the fans are out celebrating. So, our working hours are one disadvantage of police work. A lot of the time we have to work with the public to avoid problems, and we get special training for that. But we can't always prevent trouble. So, another disadvantage of the job is the danger. I mean, we know that some of the people we have to arrest will attack us. Now for the advantages. Well, one of the advantages is that police work is well paid. As I've said, it's a difficult job, and police officers work hard for their pay. But there are many more advantages. For example, sometimes the work's fun, especially when we have to protect famous people from their own fans. I've met quite a lot of celebrities in my job, and I must say I enjoy seeing them close up and finding out what they're really like as people. But for me, the biggest advantage is the job satisfaction. Speaking for myself, I would say I get the most job satisfaction when I help someone, or solve a problem in a community. And in the future, I'd like to train to be a detective. I think I'd be good at that.
Topic 3. Staying safe.
And now for some local news. When the receptionist arrived at Goodmead Primary School on Monday, she found that someone had broken into the office and stolen several laptops, so she called the police. They came to look at the crime scene straight away and advised her to make sure she locked up the office every evening in future. They also suggested that she should watch out for any strangers nearby. 2 days later, the police called to say that they had caught the thieves and arrested them. They said they would take them to court in the next few days.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to talk to you today. I like speaking to students, especially when there's a chance of making their lives a bit safer. Just to start, does anyone know what the most common crime is? No? Well, theft is the most common crime in the UK. There are various kinds of theft. For instance, robbery, when a thief takes something away from someone personally, like when you're walking in the street and someone grabs your handbag or your mobile and runs away. That's robbery. Another form of theft is burglary, when a thief breaks into your house and steals your property. OK, now I'd like to go on to talk about safety on holiday. You probably know that when you're on holiday abroad, you're in much more danger of being robbed. This is because you probably don't know the country very well. For example, you might not realise that you're in a dangerous area. One of the things you can do to protect yourself is to keep your passport and money in the safe in the hotel. You can always go back and get them if you need them. Another thing you can do is take an old mobile with you on holiday. These new smartphones are very popular with thieves all over the world. It's safer just to take an old one.
Hello everyone, I'm Jennifer and I work for Campus Security. Welcome to this very short talk about emergency phone numbers. To start with, you need to know that emergency numbers aren't the same in every country. As we're in Britain at the moment, it's important to know that the emergency number is 999, so you'll need to remember this. Those of you who've been to the United States will know that the emergency number is 911, slightly different. But in Australia, the emergency number is completely different. It's 000. In Germany, the emergency number is the same as the rest of Europe. That's 112. And in case anyone's thinking of going on holiday to India this summer, it's useful to know that the emergency number there is 100.
Good morning. I'm here today to give you a few tips about security on campus. We're not just here to prevent crime, but to make sure you're safe 24 hours a day. One of the services we provide for students who live on campus is to walk home with you if you need to cross the campus late at night. I mean, we all know the halls of residence are quite a long way from the library, don't we? So, for example, if you've been studying in the library till late and you're nervous about going home alone, all you have to do is ring campus security on 3333 and we'll send someone to make sure you're safe. Okay? By the way, another important thing to remember is the campus emergency number. We all know the national emergency number in the UK is 999. But when you're on campus and there's an emergency, you should call 3333. If you call 3333, you'll get through to our own staff right here on campus. They can react quickly and get to you faster than national services.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here to talk to you about staying safe on holiday. Before I came this evening, I did a little research on where students like to go for their holidays and came up with 2 different regions, Latin America and India. So, I've been looking at the crime figures for both areas, and I thought I'd start by talking a bit about that. Then I'll give you some advice about how to avoid becoming a victim of crime. Okay, first of all, let's look at what kinds of crime are committed most in different regions. Okay, I'll start with India. Generally, India isn't thought of as a dangerous place for individuals, but there has been an increase in handbag theft in recent years. So keep an eye on your bag when you're out in the street. Right, now let's look at Latin America. Of course, you do realise that not all Latin American countries are the same, but it is true to say that guns are used in a high percentage of crimes across the region. Looking at the figures, it seems that gun crime is a serious problem throughout. I can see some of you are thinking that it all sounds rather dangerous, but I know lots of people who've been there and had a really great time. They followed advice from the authorities, like making sure they didn't wear expensive jewellery in the street. And I'd certainly advise anyone travelling to Latin America to do the same. Another thing you should be careful of is not to go to lonely places at night. But of course, that's the same anywhere. But I must say, you do have to be very careful in some parts of Latin America when you take your money out of a cash machine. Sometimes you find that thieves stand very close to people at cash machines and take their money as it comes out. Okay, so now I'll finish by talking a little bit about India. I've actually been to India, and I didn't have any feeling that it was dangerous at all. First of all, I went on an organised tour with a group of people. This is definitely the best way to go because it's so much safer. I mean, I didn't go anywhere without the group, and we had a tour guide who spoke the local language and knew the area. In fact, I remember now, she warned us not to go off with strangers, even if they seem nice and friendly. But again, you wouldn't do that at home either, would you?